Christian VII, King of Denmark-Norway from 1766 to 1808, remains a figure shrouded in both historical significance and tragic mystery. His reign, marked by personal struggles and political intrigue, offers a captivating glimpse into the complexities of power and the human condition within the gilded cages of European monarchy. While his reign saw significant reform and change in Denmark, it was overshadowed by his debilitating mental illness, leading to political instability and a struggle for power within the royal court. The young king's deteriorating mental state allowed ambitious individuals to seize control, leading to a period of intense intrigue and ultimately tragedy for those caught in the crossfire. Christian VII was born in 1749, the son of King Frederick V of Denmark-Norway and his British-born queen, Louise of Great Britain. From birth, Christian was heir to a powerful kingdom, his destiny seemingly preordained. However, the young prince's upbringing proved far from ideal. His father, a pleasure-loving monarch, showed little interest in his son's education or well-being. Christian was largely raised by courtiers and tutors, some more benevolent than others, and his childhood was marked by loneliness and a lack of parental guidance. When Frederick V died in 1766, Christian, at the young age of 16, ascended to the throne, unprepared for the immense responsibilities thrust upon him. Shortly after his coronation, Christian VII embarked on a European tour, a customary journey for young monarchs to experience the wider world and forge diplomatic ties. While abroad, he met Johann Friedrich Struensee, a German physician who quickly gained the king's trust and became his personal physician. Struensee's arrival marked a turning point in Christian's life and reign. Christian's mental health, already fragile, began to deteriorate rapidly under the pressures of kingship. The king's instability created a power vacuum within the Danish court, which Struensee, with his cunning and ambition, was quick to exploit. He began issuing decrees in the king's name, implementing sweeping reforms that modernized Danish society. Struensee, emboldened by his de facto rule, enacted a whirlwind of reforms aimed at modernizing Danish society and reducing the power of the aristocracy. He abolished censorship, promoted religious tolerance, and restructured the government bureaucracy. These changes, while intended to create a more enlightened and efficient state, alienated many within the Danish elite. The speed and radical nature of the reforms, coupled with Struensee's disregard for traditional power structures, fueled resentment and opposition. His relationship with Queen Caroline Matilda, Christian VII's wife, further fueled the flames of discontent. Rumors of an affair between the Queen and the ambitious physician spread through the court, adding fuel to the fire of opposition building against Struensee. The growing opposition to Struensee's rule culminated in a coup d'état in 1772, leading to his arrest and execution. Caroline Matilda, a young British princess thrust into the centre of the Danish court, faced a challenging and ultimately tragic fate. Married to Christian VII at the tender age of 15, she found herself in a foreign land, bound to a husband whose mental instability became increasingly apparent. Neglected and isolated, Caroline Matilda became a pawn in the power struggles that engulfed the Danish court. Initially sympathetic to Struensee's reformist ideals, she found herself drawn to his intelligence and charisma. Following Struensee's arrest and execution, Caroline Matilda was accused of adultery and complicity in his crimes, stripped of her title, and exiled from Denmark. Separated from her young children, she lived out her remaining years in Hanover, her life tragically cut short at the age of 23. The reign of Christian VII was as much defined by the machinations of those surrounding him as by his own actions. The king's deteriorating mental state created a power vacuum that ambitious individuals were quick to exploit. Intrigue, betrayal, and whispers of conspiracy became the tools of the trade for those seeking to advance their own interests. Struensee's rise and fall serve as a stark example of the precarious nature of power within the Danish court. His downfall, orchestrated by a coalition of disgruntled nobles led by Christian VII's stepmother, Queen Juliana Maria, showcased the ruthless efficiency with which power could change hands in the Danish court. The events of Christian VII's reign serve as a cautionary tale, highlighting the seductive nature of power and the devastating consequences of unchecked ambition. Following the downfall of Struensee, Christian VII, his mental state deteriorating further, effectively became a figurehead monarch. A regency was established, with power initially residing in the hands of Queen Juliana Maria and her supporters. While Christian remained the king in name, his role was largely ceremonial. He continued to suffer from debilitating mental illness, his moments of lucidity becoming increasingly rare. Despite his diminished role, Christian VII remained a figure of fascination and sympathy for the Danish people. His tragic story, marked by mental illness and political manipulation, resonated with a public accustomed to the often capricious nature of royal authority. Despite the turmoil and tragedy that characterized his reign, Christian VII left an indelible mark on Danish history. The reforms enacted during Struensee's period of influence, while controversial and short-lived, planted the seeds of change within Danish society. The abolition of torture, the promotion of religious tolerance, and the expansion of educational opportunities laid the groundwork for the more progressive policies that would later characterize Denmark's development. Christian VII's reign also saw a flourishing of Danish arts and culture. While Christian VII himself played a limited role in these developments due to his health, his reign coincided with a period of significant cultural and intellectual growth in Denmark. His legacy is more nuanced than that of a mere figurehead monarch, laying the groundwork for a more modern and progressive Denmark. Christian VII's story is a complex and often heartbreaking one. He was a king thrust upon a throne he was ill-equipped to occupy, a man whose mental fragility made him vulnerable to the manipulations of those around him. His reign, though marked by political instability and personal tragedy, also saw significant societal reforms and a flourishing of Danish arts and culture. In remembering Christian VII, it is essential to look beyond the simplistic narrative of a mad king ruled by others. His story is a reminder of the human cost of power, the fragility of mental health, and the enduring allure of history's enigmatic figures.